So I'm listening to this song, I Hate the Suburbs, by one of my favorite YouTube content creators, Mr. B, but the name of his band's Electric Needle Drop. And I don't know, I love this shit. Mostly because as a suburb kid, like there's so much subcontext to this song. And like the chorus goes, I hate the suburbs, but I can't escape them. Like, bro, you can't. Especially because growing up, people would like work their entire lives to move out of the city or the country into a place like I grew up in. Like, obviously you got made, if you're black, you got made fun of for being in the suburbs. Everybody thought you was pussy. It is what it is. But it's like, nigga, my dad did not have indoor plumbing for a large portion of his life. Now, my mom grew up in Cleveland, but she grew up in like Cleveland suburbs. We grew up in Cleveland suburbs in the 60s and 70s when niggas' cars are still getting blown up. Like, her father was a civil rights activist. So it wasn't all fucking shits and giggles and whatnot. But like, they worked really hard to get my sister and I to the suburbs. And like, even friends that I knew that moved from like rural areas want to move to a fucking suburb because there's more shit to do. You're closer to things. Even if it is a fucking strip mall in the same stores that every other fucking suburb has. Hilliard has the same stores as Dublin. Dublin has the same stores as Grove City. Grove City has the same stores as Worthington. Well, maybe not Worthington because of how it sits in the city. But Powell and Lewis Center have the same stores as Westerville and Gahanna. And Reynoldsburg have the same stores as fucking, maybe not Groveport, but like Grandview. So it's like, you're going to see a Dick's Sporting Goods. You're going to see a Kohl's. You're going to see a Meijer, hopefully. You're going to see, obviously, a Walmart. You're going to see a fucking Trader Joe's. You're going to see a fucking Fresh Time. Like, this is all shit that we've seen. You're going to see a Massey's Pizza. Like, growing up in the suburbs, people don't understand the pressure that comes from living in the suburbs, especially if you're like first generation, because your parents moved there to give you a better shot at life. Whether it was Gahanna or Hilliard or Dublin or fucking Grove City or New Albany, they moved there so you can have good schools and you'll be set up to be around people that are doing shit so that you would do shit. And you grow up in these towns when you can't drive and everything, unless, like in Pickerton is different from any other fucking suburb, probably other than Groveport, but at least Groveport, a lot of their shit was on the fucking bus line. In Pickerton, if you didn't have a car, you were stuck. Especially in the 90s and early 2000s. We had to make our own fun. So basically, our shit was more rural. We might as well, because we had no access to shit. We really didn't. Depending on where you lived in Pickerton, everything was far from you. Especially if you lived in a house. It's like, this song makes me really think about from like 1998 to like 05. Living in this town and then just kind of like being stuck. Not feeling stuck, but like being crushed by like expectations. Like, there's very few things, like, it's funny because I talked to some of my own, like, I went to Black College, and a lot of the guys that I went to, they were the first ones in their families to go to college. Like, they're the first one in their families to graduate high school. Bro, that wasn't a shock. Like, it was a shock if you didn't. Like, if you didn't get any scholarship money, people were looking at you weird. Like, if you didn't plan on going to college, people look like, what the fuck? Like, unless you were, like, joining the military, but, like, dog, we had every fucking advantage. And because of that, you kind of have to go through life a certain way of, I need to succeed, I need to make X amount of dollars, I need to live in this house, like, or if I'm living in the city, I need to live in this part of the city. Like, you can't live in the fucking hood. Like, it kind of, I don't want to say becomes beneath you, but becomes underneath the station in which you were raised up. People really fought and clawed to get their kids out of the hood or out of the fucking sticks to areas like I grew up. And if you don't succeed, everybody's like, how the fuck did you not succeed? How the fuck did you not do anything in life? You grew up in fucking Dublin. You went to Dublin Jerome, and how the fuck you become a burnout? Like, bro, not everybody has that life. But if you do make something of yourself, you end up moving and becoming a part of the machine, not even the machine, but the conglomerate or the collective of what the suburbs represent, because it's home to you. And it's so fucking weird how it's so much home to you. No matter where you go, you're going to end up living in a suburb of some place. Like when I lived in Orlando, that was the first time I lived in a city. Like outside of Columbus, I lived in a city. I didn't live in a suburb of Orlando. I wasn't in Apopka or Winter Garden or Winter Haven. There's a lot of winter shit in fucking Florida, especially in Orlando. Like it wasn't fucking Kissimmee or Lake Buena Vista. Like, nah, dude. I lived in Orlando. My address was Orlando. That shit was dope, but that's the first time living in the city. When I moved to Portland, I lived in Bethany, Oregon, which is like a small offshoot town of Beaverton. So I was in a suburb there too. Like, my shit did not say fucking Portland. It said Bethany, Oregon. Like, when I moved to Dallas, I lived in fucking Plano. Like, it was weird, dude. Like, growing up in the suburbs, like, mostly just suburbs. And it becomes a comfort and a desire to get back to it. Because, like, I don't want to put my kids in Columbus City schools. What the fuck for? They suck. Like, no. But everybody works like, oh, I want to get it. Like, every poor person, like, or grew up in the hood is like, oh, I want to get a nice house on a suburb somewhere. But you become part of that. It is a glorious prison. Because we don't have is different. Like, if you're not from the suburbs, you don't think we have much of a culture. And depending on where you live and what suburb is and what city you're a suburb of, you may not. But almost every suburb is the same. The only good part, not only, but the main part is just hot chicks with big houses. That's it. That was most of our fucking summers rolling around doing. Just fucking trying to find ways to impress chicks who lived in big houses with pools. But that's just the wildest shit to me. Like, this song is so dope because, like, I hate the suburbs, but I can't escape them. And you can. Once it becomes a part of you, that's it. My suburb, my town, my area is Pickerington, Ohio. It is a suburb of Columbus. Pickerington, Ohio is very similar to Pataskala, which is but it's not the same as fucking Heath, because Heath has fucking stores and stores and a mall, but it's still a fucking suburb. It's all strip malls, baby. So it's like, I don't know. I love this song, dude. I love it a lot. But it is very, as anybody who grew up in the suburbs, actually anybody whose parents lived in the suburbs and they ended up growing up in the same suburbs, it becomes a part of you. It becomes so much a part of your identity. How you move, how you talk to people, how you relate. Like, it's safe as fuck. But it's also so cookie cutter. And it's like that with a lot of the apartments out in Columbus, where a lot of them are fucking cookie cutter. I know the whole setup before I even go in. It's all just picking which area do you want your cookie cutter apartment to be in. Now, I'm appreciative for my cookie cutter ass apartment, but it's like, yo, my apartments look just like the apartments across the way, which look like the apartments that are connected. There's not much difference. And it's a comfortable numbness. It's like, if you ever watched Rick and Morty and they make this wafer from the essence of like somebody's happiest time, and like they drain that essence from them, and when you eat that wafer, it gives you the sensation of the essence, like this guy winning a championship. And like, that's it. They trap him, and then that's it. He just relives that day. But you're eating like the secretions from that essence of him winning the championship game or fighting back against the system. Like, yo, we could, bro, as much as I fucking said I hated Pickerington, like, oh my gosh, this place sucks, there's nothing to do, everybody's here are the same, it's horrible. The next place I'm looking at living is fucking Pickerington, so my kids can go to school there. Like, we all said it. All of us said this shit. And very few of us don't go, like, we don't just stay home. Very few of us had such a harrowing experience with our hometowns, with our main suburb, that we don't go. Or we don't look for something like it. There's a comfort to it. There's an objective comfort to it. And that's the dangerous part about it, is because it lulls you into this great sense of security that nothing's ever going to happen. Like, what? Like, even with school shootings, most school shootings happen in the fucking suburbs. But it's like, we all want to live in one. And it's not even just for us. It's so for other people can say we made it. That's the crazy part. Like, if I had the lottery, I want to buy my parents' house. So I don't have to buy a big ass house, but my parents have a decent sized house. But like, I'm going to buy something big that fits in whatever community I'm in. Probably in New Albany. Fucking allergies. But dude, it's crazy. It's crazy as fuck. How, like, just listening to this song and the notes that it plays, like, I fully fucking understand what this guy is talking about. But you want your kids to grow up in a predominantly safe neighborhood. And unless it's serial killers, there's not a lot of gang violence in the suburbs, bro. Not a lot of rampant street drug use in the fucking suburbs. Like, you're not going to see crackheads walking around. You're not going to see fucking heroin addicts just out and about in your neighborhood. So it's like, yo, I hate the suburbs, but I can't escape them.